First I want to show you the entire costume. This is the hat. It's one of the pirate style hats, or colonial American style hats. The next piece is the wig. I got this from a costume store, and it is a George Washington, part of a George Washington outfit. There used to be a face right in here, and so I cut the face out right around here, and what was left was the rest of the wig, and I'll show you how that works on my head. Fits me pretty well, luckily. What I do is I wear a hood underneath this that covers up the back here. You can see my hair. And then glue this to my skin all the way around using spirit gum and using spirit gum remover to remove it. Sticks on very well and very tight. And that edge can be blended with liquid latex or whatever you find at your costume store or whatever. And then you paint right over all of that, and this edge right in here always changes each time you do the outfit because it gets covered with the stuff from the rest of the outfit. And here it is with the hat. You might recognize it from the pictures. The next piece that goes below that is the hood. It's easy to make if you have Lycra. I always start out with brown on this costume as the base coat. So, and then paint over that. So if you can find brown Lycra, that's good. If you can't, then go for green. Of any color green probably would work pretty well. You can see how it works. Basically, this is two pieces of Lycra sewn together, two flat sheets. And you would basically, if you have the shadow of your head projected onto the wall, if you have a light behind your head, make sure that the shadow is the same size as your head by having the light very far away, and then trace the shadow, and then just cut out a dip for the face. Sew along the edge of the shadow, along the silhouette, and that hood should go underneath where the shirt would go. This hood comes down to around here on me, and then these little straps tie to the top of my pants on the belt loops. I'm assuming you're going to come up with the rest of the costume yourself, but just so you have a list of the things that I got a normal shirt. I picked out dark green for the color. I got it from a secondhand store. Around the neck of the shirt goes the jabot. I'll show you how the jabot works. I used a piece of t-shirt and just kind of wrinkled it up so that it could go around the neck. Goes around like that. And then I made a little hook. You can see a very little tiny hook right here. And it hooks into a little loop on the back here. You don't have to do it that way. I'd probably use a button if I was to do it again. Anyway, that comes together like that. And the jabot is basically, it can be any kind of different shape, but this one happens to be a big bow, and then some ruffles, and then a couple of tassels hanging down. Tassels I made out of normal socks, and you can see them rolled up in there. I cut out some of the socks so there's not as much volume in there. And I'll just show you how they're made. There's a strange looking cord that you can find, and then the sock is bunched up, tied, and then coated with paint. For the coat, I used a woman's coat actually, You're going to come up with this one by yourself, I'm sure, because you have people to work with. And then I put big buttons on the sleeves over here, and then roughly sleeve that's actually attached to the inside of the sleeve here, so that I don't have to put on 2 shirts. These costumes can get pretty warm because there's not a lot of breathing room inside of them, and no air passes through them very well. So you'll want to make sure that you're going to be the right temperature by not having too many layers on. The pants are very self-explanatory. They're just a pair of pants. This was just a pair of costume boots. And obviously using the same technique looks pretty good. And then there's the Lycra gloves. I use Lycra because it stretches over your skin really well. I didn't put enough green on these gloves, so if I was going to do it again, I'd probably paint them a little bit greener and probably make them a little bit tighter. You can see a little bit of wrinkliness in there. But the gloves are basically a trace of my hand, and then I just sewed with 2 sheets of Lycra along the outline, and then cut out around the outline, and then turn that whole thing inside out. And that made some really good gloves. But you don't have to use Lycra. You can find your own gloves, I'm sure. So that's all the different parts of my costume. Probably the most challenging part is going to be to find an appropriate wig. If you can't find one of these kind of flesh rubber wigs or whatever to paint, it doesn't matter what color they start out because this stuff holds paint pretty well, then I would suggest that you find a just a dark colored standard wig that's colonial style, and you just coat that with a lot of paint, and it will look pretty good. In the movie Amelie, there's a living statue, and I'm not sure how far into the movie it is, but if you rent that movie you can see him too. I don't think his outfit looks quite as good as mine does, and there's pictures of mine included, but he uses a hair-based wig instead of a rubber wig, and you can see what that looks like if you want to look. This is the collar right here of the jacket, and there's some wrinkles and stuff like that, and I just wanted to point out exactly what the technique is for getting this bronze appearance. Basically, the statue is, you can think of it like here's the cuff. You can think of the statue as being in a very public place, and the people who are around the statue are going to be touching it a lot because they'll be shaking your hand or whatever, and so it's very worn, but it's also very old. The cracks or the deepest areas of the statue are going to remain green, where the patina has been able to form. The higher areas are going to be darker, and the very highest areas, like these bulges and the edges of the sleeves and stuff like that, are actually going to become metallic. If you were to treat a normal statue the way that this statue or you will be treated, it would end up looking kind of like that. Base coat you'll want to be chocolate brown. And then what you're going to do on top of that is start dry brushing on and splattering different pieces of green, or different colors of green. And the colors that I chose for that, so you go find chocolate brown first. I used basically 3 colors. A forest green, a very bright like aqua blue, this one's called Blue Lagoon, or Laguna Blue, whatever. And then I use a very bright lime sorbet, or some kind of bright lime green color. Those are the key elements for the colors of the patina that you'll be putting on, along with the metallic that you'll be putting on after all of those are on and not during. This is just a brown case that I have. And I don't mind sacrificing a little bit of the surface area to properly show you how to apply some good looking patina. Has some cracks and stuff like that, so that'll be just like your costume. Some big seams. I'm going to put in a little bit of the colors, all three. And initially, this is the dark green. Initially, you're going to not mix them very much. I like to put them on in spotchy fashion. The brown underneath, I tried different colors and it just seemed to work the best. Sometimes it'll show through, especially if you rub it and it's an appropriate color to have come through everything. If it actually gets worn away, so this can take a little bit of wear and tear. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. A lot of smearing shapes and different strange forms will be very good for the appearance of the box, or the appearance of the costume. What I'm doing is I'm going to take the lightest color, the lime green, and I'm going to put it into the cracks and around the different shapes. So right underneath here is a very deep crack, and so I'll stick that in there. And then there are a couple of other cracks along here. Make sure you work that light color deep into the cracks. And then gonna rub it so that the light color stays and everything else gets thinner. As you do this, you'll be able to you'll get better at it. So now what I'm doing is mixing some of the dark green in with the bluish color, and I'm going to paint over the tops of everything. I should have let this dry a little bit longer. But you can see how the light green is staying in the cracks, and you don't want to cover that back up. You want the cracks to always stay very light in color. If any crack is dark, go back over it later and apply more green to it. Don't worry about covering the brown up completely. In fact, try not to, because having some of that showing through will be good for the costume. There's a secret to getting the light green into the cracks very well. Use a lot of water and start mixing the green into the water. So that you have a really, really thick, well, not really thick, a very thinned out source of paint. I'm just going to mix in some more of the other colors. And this wash that's on here is really great because you can splatter it on. Or you can dab it into the cracks and it will soak in deeper into the cracks. Which is good.